Hi guys, it's Carl here. So Christmas is upon us, and for a lot of people, Christmas is a great time of the year. Maybe it's their favorite time of the year, and it's synonymous with presents and spending time with family and eating food and relaxing and having fun and really transitioning into the new year in a positive way. Unfortunately, for estranged people, it's a different experience. Not for all of them, for some. And Christmas is often the singular most difficult time of the year for estranged people because there is no other date associated with family than Christmas, no other period. And literally on Christmas Day, over here in Ireland anyway, you won't get a shop open, you won't get a restaurant, you won't get a bar, you won't get a cinema. There is nowhere else to go other than be in someone's house, ideally family, spending time with them. But that simply isn't always an option for estranged people. Either they have a difficult relationship with family, they may still be part of their life, but a visit over Christmas could be a very stressful time for them. The flip side is they may have no relationship with family, they may be completely closed off to any kind of support over the Christmas period, and that brings with it a sense of loneliness, a massive sense of loneliness. Now, even if you are physically present with estranged family members, you may still be lonely. That's the nature of it, the severed attachment and how it affects people. Now, when I'm working with my clients, there tends to be six areas that I hone in on, areas that are just more common with my clients in terms of the challenges that they face. And I'm going to go through them now quickly. So the first one is this constant state of hypervigilance, where they're anxious and they're on edge and they're waiting for something, they're anticipating something. And this hypervigilance may began even months before Christmas, just as soon as they become aware of it. It's kind of on their radar. They know it's coming up. They're dreading it. And they may dread it for different reasons. They may dread that coming up to Christmas, they're going to feel this overwhelming sense of sadness, that they're anxious for feeling one anxiety or one feeling in response to a potentially other feeling. They may be anxious over how family is going to respond over the Christmas period. Will they contact them? Will they not contact them? Should they contact them? I'm going to talk about the second challenge, which is indecision later on, but it's generally fueled by this sense of unease, not feeling safe inside of themselves. Again, a lot of the anxiety and the hypervigilance could be how will I cope, because it is so difficult and people sometimes just withdraw inside themselves and they just find it so hard. They're really just waiting for Christmas to pass. And ideally, they would rather just put the bed covers over them and just sleep through it all and hope that it goes away. But I think fundamental to this hypervigilance is rejection and waiting for the next rejection. And if you're waiting for family to contact you, you could be on edge, waiting for a subsequent estrangement, waiting for some sense of rejection for them that you're not wanted. In the same way, if you're reaching out to them and you're making all this effort and you may be seeing them, this could still be a lot of anxiety around how they're going to be, what their behaviours are going to be, their attitude towards you, and how that might lead to another sense of rejection as well. And that primary experience of rejection, it doesn't leave us, it stays with us. And this is research backed. So it's almost like breaking an arm. And the experience of breaking arm, even though it might physically heal, the scars are still there. In the same way, the scars of feeling rejected are still with us, and they prime us for the next rejection, which is why hypervigilance is so difficult to change, because it's locked into our biology, and we have to find the right resources and the right ways of working through it, integrating the experiences so we can find more ease inside of ourselves. The second challenge is chronic indecision and really not knowing what to do. And very much with my clients are terrified of making a mistake. So they ask themselves, should I reach out to family or should I not? Should I visit? Should I not? Should they send presents or should they not? And then similarly, if family reaches out to them and they send out presents, do I respond? Do I answer the phone? Do I respond to the email? Do I engage? Do I let them back into my life? And it's understandable that there is so much indecision around now because there's so much at stake. People are very fearful, terrified of making a mistake. They're terrified of getting it wrong and either making a situation worse, creating more estrangements, or potentially letting people back into their life that they rather weren't there in the first place. But because of Christmas, they feel this pressure and obligation to do that. The next one is limited choices. This is very much for people who have lost many people as a result of estrangement, and all these doors are closed to them. And this is particularly prevalent for people who are estranged and single, and they mightn't have the best support network that they need, particularly if all their friends are married in long-term relationships. They're off spending time with their own family, and this type of person doesn't want to be a burden. They don't want to ring them up, but yet they're on their own. They've very, very limited choices. And Really, this has a lot to do with, okay, you try and open doors if you can. You try to maintain some type of connection, even if it's WhatsApps or phone calls or emails. But you may, if it's just you, then we put some purpose behind that. We create some symbolism around this. And again, try to make it about you instead of anybody else, even if you're really, really lonely and really yearn to connect with other people. The next one is just overpowering sense of guilt and shame. And shame is so pervasive for estranged people because they fundamentally feel like there's something wrong with them because they're not conforming to the expectations of society. They're not meeting the standards that everybody else is naturally able to fulfill because they're not estranged. And the shame might run even deeper still. It might be bound with the previously mentioned experiences of rejection. It could be bound to the fact that you may be estranged from people who have kids and you really wish to see those kids. You want to give them presents because you love them. But because of the dynamic, you can't. So that love becomes bottled up. We don't just start to love ourselves. It becomes turned into some other energy that could be associated with shame and possibly guilt because you can't be there for them. It's very difficult to shake. It's very difficult to change those standards and actually just love ourselves for who we are. Because often we're not wired for that. Often we've just been taught throughout life that we have to be performative. We have to look and feel and act a certain way. And all of a sudden we can't do that because of this estrangement situation. The next one is stressful visits for family. And I use the term re-engagement, which almost sounds like a military term. But unfortunately, many people who are estranged from family and are going to visit them, they could be walking into a fight. And it's a very stressful fight, naturally, because you're dealing with very difficult dynamics, possibly difficult conversations. There could be, it might be an unfair fight because you maybe have to deal with multiple people who blamed you for everything. So you're walking in and it can feel like a bit of an ambush or people are fearful of ambush, and particularly conversational ambushes where you walk in and people are very polite and very friendly and general, how are you, how are things, and then one question may be an entry into your private life. Start asking more questions about your private life, and then it might turn into passive aggressive remarks and resentments and all these other issues that existed in the family. And again, it's very difficult to manage all of that. Setting boundaries is a particularly hard one as well. Saying no to people. And the last one is probably the hard one, is the exit strategy. Actually finding a way out of this situation that isn't overly dramatic, isn't overly difficult, isn't overly stressful, that you can just quietly move your way out of this situation. And you may have to lean on your exit strategy sooner rather than later. Now, there's ways of managing all of that, and part of the work I do is helping people train their buffer, which is their partner or someone in their life who could be physically present with you during this visit. And with the right kind of support and the right kind of training, they can watch out for cues from you if it's decided to leave. They can keep the conversations in check so that they don't go to difficult places, and really just to act as emotional support for you, and almost like this kind of police force, a third party police force. Because if there's a stranger in the room, it's often interesting to see how families change their behaviours. They feel like a little bit defensive themselves, and they can't quite act as negatively as they would have done before. And it's one of the many tragedies in families where the family members are often more concerned about the opinions of people outside of the family than those inside of the family, even though that's your blood bond. These are the people who are meant to be there for you or for each other, and these are people who are meant to listen to each other and respect each other. Unfortunately, the respect tends to be outwards more so than inwards, as in outside the family. And then the last issue is just this crippling sense of loneliness. And for a lot of people estranged, they just feel completely empty inside. They feel completely apathetic, which is often the opposite of hypervigilance. In hypervigilance, you're on edge. You're up at the top of your window of tolerance emotionally. With loneliness, you're often down below in a hypo state, where you just feel empty, you feel low energy, you feel drained, you feel hopeless. You're asked yourself, what's the point? Often they're positioned like this where they're hunched over. And I know a lot of people, some people, get quite sick over Christmas as well because their immune systems are compromised. And it could be because of the change of the weather. It could be because of flu systems and everything else. But it also could be that lack of attachment, that lack of a warm, healthy and secure connection with other people may start to have effects somatically, and sickness may be part of that. So they're just 6 areas that I hone in on with my clients, areas that come up most consistently with them. And Christmas is very, very tough. And so to address those, my next workshop is happening the 12th of December, Sunday the 12th of December, which is Sunday next week. done at 8 p.m. GMT, which is Irish time. The reason I picked that time is because I get a good mix of people from America, the UK, and Ireland who attend these workshops, and I'm trying to accommodate as many people as possible. But the goal is to try and find compassionate approaches and solutions to those 6 challenges. We'll work through the hypervigilance, the indecision, the sense of limited choices, the loneliness, the guilt and the shame, and then how to manage re-engagement and visiting families. If you can't make the live recording, that's no problem. I'm going to record it the next day. So I won't be recording the live session. So if anyone does come on live, they can ask questions, they can engage. Don't have to worry about it being recorded. It won't be. And I was really happy with the last workshop. I was really blown away by the amount of questions and just the really high quality conversations that came up. And I think people really learned from each other. I will record it a separate day. I'll send out the recording, and so people can go through all these exercises themselves. And there will be some guided meditations as well. And what I'll probably do is separate those even still, so people can access the videos of the meditation aside from the actual body of the workshop itself. So that's it. You're more than welcome to join the workshop. I'll put a link below. If you can't make the workshop, I understand completely. It's getting close to Christmas, and I really hope you do get through Christmas. I hope, as tough as it is, I hope you do get through. I hope you believe in yourself and your own innate ability to get through and to cope and to find the right resources to deal with all the difficult emotions, and you will get through it. I know you'll get through it. It's just, unfortunately, you might just have to just be brave, feel anxious, feel all these difficult emotions until the Christmas period passes. We're in the new year, and then you regroup, restructure the new year, and really replan and decide what you want to do with the new year, and actually start the new year with a bit more purpose behind it, with goals towards healing, towards starting projects that maybe you'd hoped to do before, and just taking a bit more control of your life despite the situation. So that's it, guys. I'll talk to you all very soon. If you're going to the workshop, really looking forward to seeing you. If you're not going to the workshop, best of luck. I'll be thinking about everybody on Christmas Day and over the Christmas period. And mind yourselves. And that's it. Take care.